Hi, I'm Nick Hardy, Player and Coach Development Manager at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And as part of my role, I span across programmes throughout the world. And we're here in partnership with FC Malaga City, and now in our second year of a partnership. For me, the Academy is a fantastic part of FC Malaga City. Personally, it's been incredible to see the growth of the club, both in the boys and the girls game. The opportunity for the players and coaches from the Academy into the senior team and the wider football community.
Good afternoon and welcome back to show 3 of FC Malaga City, the club. To be honest, I'm really excited for today's guest. We've got a big variety, experience and special guests coming in from our partner club, Tottenham Hotspur, in Nick Hardy and Osia Vanji. We cannot wait to talk to them, get to know them a little bit better, and for all of our families to have a really in-depth idea of how the partnership's working and the benefits from the club as we look to push into the second year with a fantastic Premier League and global leader in what they're doing within the Academy. So without further ado, gents, thanks for giving up your time. I know you've jetted in, it's been a whirlwind and we're pushing to the limits as always.
Yeah, thanks for having us, always a pleasure.
Good to get away from the cold weather of London, so beautiful.
I've heard it's horrible back there at the minute.
Yeah, it's been a very cold winter, no snow yet.
No, but minus whatever. So
yeah, minus 2 or 3 when we departed today, so yeah, it makes it all the much nicer to be here over a week when it's very cold back home.
And I think, you know, just give a little bit of background to the partnership and the work more that you're doing yourself, especially been sort of a long time contact for us now. Is this the 4th visit or maybe the 5th?
Yeah, I think maybe 5th this time round.
So you come in second time now. It's great to meet you last time. And it's got to be honest, it was a real big impact you left with us, especially the session that we did with the staff. But I mean, you're working on other global partners as well. How do you see where Malaga City fits in, and give us a little bit of your opinion on how you see the club?
Yeah, I think, well, listen, rolling into a second year is always a good example of something that is a programme or a partner that both parties want to invest in. You know, obviously, I'm probably a little bit biased in a sense in terms of having been here, 5 times now, and also supported the partnership when you guys come over to London, the training ground. So, you know, I'm invested in it, I'm invested in the people, but I think that's probably really where we get to with all of our partners and our programs, because, you know, there has to be a real element of authenticity on both sides. And we don't enter into these kind of partnerships regularly. There's not an awful lot of them, and I think, you know, that speaks volumes about our intentions, but then also what we think of a partner like yourselves in terms of the organisation, the infrastructure, the staff, what's in place already, but also the opportunity for growth on and off the grass. So yeah, it's, you know, a partnership that we're extremely proud of. And again, you know, from my perspective, selfishly so, having been around it numerous times. But, you know, in the short space of time already, I think we've seen some real growth, and that's on both sides. You know, it's a learning opportunity for ourselves as much as it is FC Malaga City, and yeah, it's been insightful, and I'm sure Ozzy would agree. You know, even for ourselves developmentally, personally, you have to be quite selfish in that sense in terms of coming over to a new culture, language, and particularly an international program like yourselves, where there are an abundance of players from all walks of life, which I think challenges ourselves, but also our model with an international program like yourself. So yeah, it's been of huge value, and yes, hopefully a lot more
obviously,
time.
like, you've worked at some incredible clubs, which we'll get into, you know, as we're going through the discussion. But I mean, how do you find coming and giving sort of sessions like today, the CPD stuff, with a lot of the coaches, their second language is English, and some with quite a low level? How has that challenge been?
Yeah, it's been challenging, but from my point of view, I think it's just the enthusiasm. I mean, you see the enthusiasm with the players, so obviously done work with the players. But what is quite unique in this club is that you've got that real enthusiasm from the coaches as well. And it doesn't matter how much, you know, a good coach developer you are, coach educator you are, if you haven't got that buy-in from the coaches themselves, there's only so much we can give. And I'll be honest with you, the enthusiasm, the willingness to want to learn and pick up new ideas and embrace new ideas has been second to none. So for me, it's just an absolute pleasure being here.
That's great feedback. It's amazing. And Tottenham, how many years now?
Myself?
Yeah.
This is year number 12.
Year number 12.
Yeah, so it's been, like a hell of a journey. Seems like every year is new opportunities, new possibilities, and through lots of different departments as well. And it's a variety of things in those 12 years.
So how did your journey, talk us through your journey of how you got to being a full-time coach at Tottenham?
Yeah, so I obviously, like many of us, played at a young age, and the competition and the fierce opportunities and possibilities are so competitive back home. So never really reached dizzy heights of scholarship or young pro or anything like that. But always had a love for football, and my journey was slightly different in the fact that I chased education, I went to university, but had always had an inkling to want to be around sport, probably primarily, but football had always been main sport for me, and opportunities kind of popped up in terms of they just presented themselves, particularly during my years at university in terms of like coaching over in the States.
Yeah.
And that's really where it took off, and that was only through like suggestion from like-minded people or tutors on my degree at the time, and it kind of really went from there. And I suppose the start of the journey at Tottenham was a little bit of a cliche in terms of like who you know and not what you know, which opened the door. And I think that's like a lot of moments in life, wherever you may be.
Still got to grab it with both hands.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and I always say it's a great opportunity, but that's only the door being open, right? Yeah. You've got to walk through it. You've got to stay in the room or move through all the rooms or the levels with those opportunities. And even then, it wasn't it wasn't full time. It was, we were just having a conversation before we came on about having your own equipment and looking at spending most of the time in a car and going from one session to another. And it's never been about this, but I was probably in a position where you're only earning enough money to pay for the petrol to get to the next session. But that kind of fueled the fire, and spent probably the first year or maybe even 18 months just being kind of a casual part-time community coach, and then just kind of went from there. So it's been a bit crazy.
Question more personally for yourself. So I mean, you've got big aspirations, obviously a great journey so far. What is a fantastic Premier League club. Just completed your A licence last year or so. Huge congratulations on that. You said that you weren't a scholar, didn't come with sort of a long professional playing background, and you see a Jermaine Defoe come into the building, you see a Yaya Toure. How do you feel as a coach just going the other way from graft, grit, and sort of going up that? What's your opinion on ex-players, and do you feel that's a threat towards your progression, or?
No, I think if anything, it's got to be seen as like another opportunity and a possibility to learn. That you're talking about serial winners there, if anything, right? In terms of, or those that have achieved like the best things in the game, whether it's scoring, whether it's winning trophies, whatever it may be. And I think there's so many moments to surround yourself with people like that when you're in the game. And again, I count myself fortunate because we're talking at a club like Tottenham Hotspur where Jermaine gets an opportunity, or Yaya. So I think lots of people have different things to say about that, but personally, I think you've got to see that as just another chance to learn from incredible professionals. And it's like anything. Sometimes it's just an organic conversation, or whether it's just striking up a friendship or a camaraderie where you can reflect on a game, or it might be over a coffee or whatever. So I think personally, to be in an environment with people like that is you can't get that on a piece of paper or qualification, should we say? So
And it was obviously a bit of a different journey. Do you mind talking us through a little bit? I think you mentioned before, Leighton Orient was the breakthrough.
Yeah, that was the start. So that was working as a community coach. I worked with in schools, a lot of schools, and worked with ex and stable drug users as well, and used sport as a way of kind of engaging adults and kids. And it taught me a lot. It taught me how to work with mixed gender. It taught me how to work with mixed motivation. It taught me how to work with mixed ability. And it really did stand me in good stead. So when I got into the elite game, I'm not going to say I found it easy, but there was aspects of the elite game that I didn't find challenging. So working with odd numbers, or working with big groups, or having sessions change at the last minute, which is what we do when you're working as a community coach. So that side of things I found quite easy. And to Nick's point, working with ex-football players, we'll definitely learn a lot from them, but they'll also learn a lot from us as well, because in terms of coaching and planning and communicating, all those kind of aspects, they'll learn a lot. But for sure, when you got these top professionals, there's bits that unless you played the game
at that level,
you wouldn't know. And it's like I said, if you can marry the two together, then you're gonna get an ultimate. And
I think
coach.
We're here obviously now at Malaga City. We've had Stephen Corker come in, join the first team staff as head coach, with our seniors. And some of the snippets and information that he's got, maybe the way he did something under Klopp, and now he's trying to help him get those tools and how to, like you say, plan your sessions and transmit that information to the playing group. So I think it can be a really good combination. I think there's both sides are very, very necessary. And I think that's why maybe some ex-players that have gone into really big roles quite quickly. Maybe they didn't surround themselves with enough educators, all football people that thought it was going to not necessarily be easy, but maybe that's where it's not worked out sometimes. So they might have a wealth of knowledge, but they're not quite getting it across to players to get the game plans to come out.
It was interesting because I was academy coach when Stephen came in on trial, and he came for his first training session, and I was with the assistant academy manager at the time, Chris Ramsey, and I saw Stephen play once, and I said, just don't let him leave. Make sure you sign him. Just make sure you sign him.
So he remembers it as well.
I think he was 15, 16 at the time.
That's right.
That was the same thing George said when he arrived here.
But it's interesting to see that he's here as well, so I'm looking forward to catching up with him as well.
And any other sort of players during the time there that have come in like that you've said, bang, that's going to be a player that you've really enjoyed working with?
You get it wrong more than you get it right, I'll be honest with you. I mean, generally speaking, whether it's Harry Kane or Andros Townsend or whatever else, they were good. Looking back now, you can see why they've made it, because a lot of it is the mental side of it. But were they the best players in the group? No, they weren't the most talented players in the group.
Interesting.
But when you look back on it now, you could understand why they made it, because they was maybe the best trainers, most driven, dedicated, determined. They had that will and that discipline to want to be better. And I think partly is because some of the more talented players, they get elevated too quickly, and then they almost take the foot off the pedal. They
start put on a pedestal, so you get told this is going to be coming. They think they're there before they've actually done the work to get there.
So they start looking down the mountain, where the players that are slightly underneath it, they're still looking up and they're striving and trying to get better. And I think that's quite often what makes the difference.
What's your opinion? Obviously, you've been in some incredible roles, during your career, and you've seen football change so much, like we all have. What's your opinion now? Like we're talking there about, get put on a pedestal too quickly, etc., etc. And I see scholars now, how easy they have it compared to when I went through a scholarship and I used to do jobs, used to do so much stuff, and now the world seems like they protect these young players so much and not really doing the kind of hard yards you used to have to go through. How do you think you keep them hungry and motivated to go to that next level?
Yeah, I think for sure it's football's fault. I don't think it's the player's fault. That's number one. So if a player, especially a talented player, doesn't make it, I think you got to look at the environment before you look at the player. Because I think it's easy for a 16, 17-year-old with everything to say that he doesn't need to work and try and whatever else. So I think it's a football problem, and I think we just got to create the environment that makes them want to do better. So we can't fail the elite players, and I think football has in the past. I think there's really they haven't done enough to keep the real elite players hungry.
Fire going, I mean, obviously there's so much finance in it now, and I think that's the first thought about a lot of conversations now. And then you get agents coming at a young age with these players, and some of the advice is more about the numbers on the paper rather than where they're going to best progress or have the best chance to be the best version of themselves. That's right. And what's your opinion? We're talking there about how it's changing. Every generation's becoming different. You've just seen it working with some of the younger players. You know, you working with the 12s a lot this year or last year?
Yeah. But abundance of age groups really. But
I mean, how do you think as coaches we need to change and adapt to connect with the new habits of the new generation? Because it is changing, the screens now, things 100%. Like that. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I think, you know, what Ozzy touches on there, just kind of the evolution of the game and the world. It's important so I suppose from my learning, so it's really important to be relevant for the youngest players. I think trying to move with the times, but also being true to like your identity or who you are. I think there is a need to be a bit more fluid now than there ever has been in terms of the approach of as an individual or as a wider organisation. But there's also, you can't come too far away from the value of having done, you know, for example, as a club, like a club as we have in our academy system, what we've done previously in order to produce scholars, young pros, first team debutants, or players that have gone on to achieve a job in the game. So there's, you know, the evolution of whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, surrounding yourself with people that have got the relevant experience. I think tapping into the right areas, whether it's different sports or just different walks of life. You know, I think both myself and Ozzy, with our experience working in schools, I'm not sure whether speaking for both of us here, but I think that as an education for a young person in coach and player development is huge in terms of that kind of understanding young people and knowing what makes them tick, and you know, all the different nuances of developing a young person, not just technically, not just tactically, everything else that comes with it. So remaining relevant and surround yourself with people that are almost experts in their own right in lots of different parts of sport or industry, should we say.
Definitely. And obviously, so you guys obviously been an academy manager. You're selecting players that are coming in, things like that. And being based at Spurs and London clubs in general, you've got real, like you're saying, all walks of life there. You've got a real different magnitude of people from different backgrounds and things like that. And same here in FC Malaga City. You've got people come from all over the world, different religions, food requirements, etc. What have you found has been a key skill to marry together in squads of teams all those different types of cultures?
I think for me it's not treating everyone the same. So people talk about treating everyone the same. I disagree with that.
Okay.
I think you've got to treat everyone as an individual. I'm a vegetarian, so why would you give me meat? I don't eat meat. So similar with players, they're all individuals. So I just think you've got to treat everyone differently, and then it can work. It's not easy,
of course,
because obviously you've got maybe one or two coaches with 20 odd players, but you've got to find a way of trying to tap into
connect with the person before the player.
More than the player, without that.
And final one for you, Ms. Harley, where do you see the partnership going this year? What would you like to see happen with, you know, FC Malaga City and Tottenham Hotspur? Any personal goals or things you're especially excited about?
Yeah, I mean, the continuation of the partnership. I think, you know, we've having been involved in it almost from the start. I suppose the growth has been incredible on and off the pitch. Again, both ways. So, you know, continuing in the same vein. As Ozzy mentioned, there's some really good people here at a variety of levels, and we've spoke a couple of times about how important like the people are in the various areas of what we do, and so I think the foundations are there. You know, yourself and the guys have worked hard to ensure that's the case. So there's good people here with the right ideas. They want to do things in the right way and all pulling in the right direction. So for me, it's maintaining that, continuing to share and critique and challenge both ways. And we said today when speaking with the staff, you know, selfishly as a club, not just us two sitting here, but this is as much for us as it is for you guys, you know, and we try and share what we do, because I think the staff here and the players too need to appreciate how well they're doing and how good the job is they're doing, and also how close it is to what it is that we do and what Ozzy has done at other clubs. And so for me, continuing the same vein, selfishly being around it. You know, I'm really
More
invested
sunshine.
in it. Yeah, really invested in it. It's not a bad place to be, and I think we're having an impact on both sides.
We're so grateful for everything, all the time you guys keep coming out, and it's invaluable for us. I think the motivation to keep wanting to go to that next level when we get to go to the training centre, and obviously it's Disneyland for football players, and that inspires us to want to do more. What can we bring back into our environment, and hopefully we can win the next time we get the pleasure of playing against.
Well, listen, that's the challenge. We'll keep the door open and always welcome, and keep pushing the boundaries. And
definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you've had a really long day, so we'll let you guys get some
don't be silly.
Get some rest. I'm really looking forward to catching up with my good friend Enrique Pais back at the club, and he's going to be here straight after this video.
It's my personality, and it's my overall goal. My dream in football is to hopefully be playing in a World Cup with the United States of America. Yes, my dream.
So it's November 16th. We're watching Malaga City versus Luton Town. My prediction for score is 2-1 Malaga City. It's going to be a good game.
what a fantastic start to Show 3, and so grateful for Nick and Jose giving up some of their time and giving a real better in-depth look at, you know, how Tottenham Hotspur is looking to work with Malaga City, what the club means to them, and really can't wait to see the week here they're going to be spending with us. And make sure you check out social media to see all of the updates as always. But just before we think we're done, delighted to be joined by long-term friend, fantastic all-round person, and amazing football guy, Enrique Pais. Welcome to the show.
Hello, good to be here.
I mean, your history of us is you know, quite in depth, but maybe a new face for a lot of people this year. You know, because there's been a sabbatical in there, shall we say? You know, and tell us about your FC Malaga City history.
Yeah, so I came in 2014. We were still living in beautiful Frigiliana, not too far from here. And yeah, I was with you guys. It was for 3 years before I went over to Oslo, Norway. So
for me, you've been a massive pillar in what is FC Malaga City now, and you know, don't worry too deep saying one of the founding fathers, but you know, it certainly feels like that. You know, feels like Adrian, Albro, yourself, you've been here forever, you know, and in a good way. But I mean, talk some of the details back then, how it was compared to now. It's very, very different, huh?
yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you have this vision of where you dream it to be back then, and then when I came back here to visit, I believe it was last year in August or when I first came, it was very close to kind of that vision, that dream. That I said, wow, okay, it was possible. You know, I think last time before the Christmas break, we took some of the academy players to train in Frigiliana, I remember, and we did a little team building, and we walked around a little bit some of the main places that we had back then, like the residencies and stuff, and just thinking about, you know, we were coaches, we were looking out after the kids, we were making them run hills at midnight if someone missed curfew, you know. It's just amazing to see the steps that it's been made, and all to create a place where, you know, player development is at the, you know, at the priority, and in all the areas, you know, education, well, what we're going to talk about today, and obviously in the football lives and stuff. So it's amazing.
No, I think, you know, none of us could have imagined it would get to where it is now, and I'm so excited now. I think it's still going to go a lot further, to be completely honest. But I mean, it's amazing to see. We like to think we're still young guys. We were a lot younger back then, you know, 10 years ago, and I think it shows you with good intentions and just so much energy what you can achieve in life, you know. But coming back now, like you say, we're having a great career at some really top professional clubs, and then to come back to FC Malaga City, we've been speaking a lot. You know, managed to get the bat signal up there and convince you to come back into the fold. But now to create your own department complete, you know, what's the challenges going to be like to make a personal cognitive development, you know, a whole new fresh canvas?
Yeah, I think it's what you say. In order to grow like this, you know, we've been fortunate that the academy has always been very open to new ideas, because I don't think you grow, right, without that openness and that willingness to do new things. And I was very lucky that obviously you're that type of person. That's the vision of the academy, and it's a challenge, right? I'm coming from, you know, a lot of time on the pitch, but I'm looking so much forward to stepping outside of the pitch a little bit and seeing things from that other perspective, and help the coaches in their journey, help the players in their journey. You know, we're setting up this program where we are supporting players on the personal side of things, where, you know, there's some top clubs in the world that don't even have a role for that, you know. So, you know, to have this club, this academy, be already ahead of some of the top academies in the world even, it's makes me very proud.
I mean, it's a brave step from us, I'd say, and I guess time will tell the benefits. But what's it like for your schedule and for yourself? Because it's a very different sort of multi-disciplinary kind of role, you know. And explain a bit more what that would mean to FC Malaga City and our players, and a little bit from your personal side, where when you're a coach, you know that the session's this time, I have to get there, put the balls down, this isn't it, it's very structured. And now talk us a little bit through how the role will work.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, the program is called Personal and Cognitive Development Program, and the idea is to give the players supports on the personal side of things, with things like, you know, self-esteem and how to manage anxiety or pressure on the pitch, and of course that these tools also fuel development in the life outside of football. And then on the cognitive side with Be Your Best, which I guess we're gonna touch up here in a little bit, which is the glasses that you see there in front. So it gives me a lot of flexibility now. I want to be a little bit everywhere. I want to make sure that players see my face often in different places. I'll have group sessions with the different teams as well, with different topics in this realm of, again, of communication and self-esteem and all these topics that we mentioned a little bit before, and that the player also has that person, that face in the staff that is specifically about that, and that they know that it's a safe space, that is away from the coaches, you know, because maybe there's some things you don't want. You don't want the coach maybe to know, so they have that person that they know, okay, this is the person to talk to. Confidential is just to help them. Again, we just talked to the Tottenham guys about taking care of the person, right? And if we want to get the best out of these players in a very demanding environment that we put them in, we have to take care of the person, and we have to make sure that that player is 100% on a personal side.
No, it's fantastic. And you mentioned there, the VR headsets. I mean, it's a big tool for you that you're using, daily with different groups of players. And talk us through the technology and how it works and the benefits, obviously.
So this goes obviously on the cognitive side of the program, right? So again, the personal side is the support to players, that's individual, that also includes life skills. And then we have the cognitive side, where we're going to use a lot of Be Your Best, which is a football simulation to train cognitive skills that are specific for football. We focus a lot on scanning right now, on the specifics of scanning, like when to scan, how much to scan. And when I'm talking about scanning, I mean scanning, like looking around at the pitch to make good decisions, right? So like you mentioned, we have a group of players from each team that we worked with for a period of time, and follow up on the pitch as well. And what we're gonna be looking to do is see the effects of this training. Case studies to see how much the app is working. We know it does work. We're working with some of the top clubs in the. Yeah, exactly. I say we because I work for both. For both sides, right? So we are working with some of the top developing clubs in the world, developing as far as like the type of players they develop and how the academy is doing. FC Copenhagen being one of them, and Borussia Dortmund and this type of level. So again, to be able to be implementing this here. Again, it puts us at a level that a lot of academies around the world are not around, you know. And again, I feel so proud to be part of that and to see where that can take us, you know.
And I think, for me this year, having the opportunity to sign an agreement with Be Your Best, was a real big moment, like you're saying, to be able to be in that same breath as some of those clubs that you're mentioning. It's not necessarily following like a sheep, but it's learning from what the best are doing and taking the bits that work for your club and what you want to expose your players to, And I've got to say, all the visits, we're very lucky to get visited by lots of coaches and scouts from different organisations. Everyone's been very impressed with yourself, first of all, but also we get everyone to have a go on the equipment, and their mind's kind of blown with the challenging aspects of it.
And what we want to train, and it gives us a language, right, to also use on the pitch when we're coaching these type of things, decision making and scanning on the pitch. Now we have a common language, or if I say critical scan, everyone in the staff and the players understand what a critical scan is, right? Which is something we train in the app. So it's super exciting.
So now heavily involved with Be Your Best, and what does it feel like? You said about like Malaga City, and we had this vision, and we got a lot closer to it now. I'm sure it's a very similar journey, Be Your Best. And when you see, Tottenham Madrid using on his social media, the program, how does that feel for you guys, the organisation?
It's similar because I can humbly say that I'm the longest serving member of staff in that company now. So it's very funny because it's a similar feeling to see like what I was dreaming of some years ago is now coming into fruition as far as the things that we can do technically, the reach that we're getting to people. We're in the process of translating into Spanish, to catch more. So it's a lot of that same feeling of believing, because again, it's the same objective, right? It's helping players development, because that's what Be Your Best is about. Super original and innovative concept, which is very similar to what we have at FC Malaga City as well, as a concept, as a club / academy development place. And it's full of, we were talking about earlier, the right people, right? People that are ambitious, people that want to grow, that are open to learning, that are, not
growth
so
mindset.
open mindset. So I feel super fortunate to be in these two places that let me kind of express myself in such an honest way, you know.
And what things are you most excited about for the sort of next 12 to 18 months would be your best things that you can share that aren't top secret?
From Be Your Best?
Yeah.
From Be Your Best. Yeah, I mean, we're working on things like being able to play like you do FIFA online. So I have my headsets here, you have your headsets at home, and we can play against each other or with each other in the team of, you know, completely AI simulated, you know, 5 minutes, 10-minute games. So
and interactive.
Yeah, so interactive, and again measuring your cognitive skills, and you know, it's not just a game to play and enjoy, which of course it should be enjoyable, but it is to develop.
Tool. Yeah,
it is a development tool. So that's just one of the things. For example, it's going to be super interesting.
And then flipping it back to you know yourself, your role, and Be Your Best here at Malaga City. It's 3-4 months you've been back here, you know, full-time living in Spain now. How do you think it's been received? Obviously, I'm sure young people are very excited about the idea of VR headsets and a bit of a game. You know, it has like a platform type thing that you go into. You know, I've used the software. I think it's great. How has it been received by the players, and do you think they're taking it seriously and trying to implement it as part of, they feel now as part of their training schedule, or you've got to do a bit more education on the players?
I think the support that Alvaro has given the program, you know, as far as pushing it on the weekly planners and making it that the players understand that this is like a gym session.
Yep.
Right? So it's not just something we do for fun, it's to help them develop cognitively. So I think Alvaro has done a great job in helping me, making sure that that's the view around it. Of course, once they see what it is, it's like, oh shit, this is cool, you know, like okay. But the idea that they understand it's part of their development, that it's something they do, it really doesn't take more than, you know, the longest session will be 20 minutes. So it's really something that is not super disruptive to their weekly, daily work, you know. So challenges that, of course, we wish we could do it on 170 players.
Yeah.
Physically, is obviously a challenge to deliver all the sessions. So I think that's something, you know, when we want to grow, how can we manage to make it more scalable, to get more contact with the players, to get more players doing it at one time. I think that's a growth point for us.
Really good. And then on the football side, you said you're not on the pitch as much at the moment. We're still trying to entice you back on bit by bit. Obviously, a licensed coach and so much experience on that side as well. If you had to sum up or pick one thing that from your first chapter here at the club to now, what's the biggest changes that you think you've seen as an organisation, apart from maybe the senior teams, which didn't exist back in the time you were here?
No, I think the cohesion across the different coaches and how we're really trying to push in one. Because now, I mean, there's so much more, right? There's so much many more teams, more coaching staffs. You know, a specific staff for each of the teams. So of course you're double dipping in some positions, but it's, you know, the amount of communication that has to go through it. Of course, can we get better at it? Yeah, that's always part of, you know, that's the goal. But it is quite amazing that there is a way of working, that there is a methodology, that there is, you know, there's a lot of things in place that, again, very good academies and very good clubs may not have so well structured, you know. And so I think we should feel really proud of that, knowing that I think there is also a lot of improvement to do in that same process, in that same structure. But that the idea is there, and that you guys have been able to recruit coaches and people that want to do that and that want to be a part of that has been, you know, amazing.
I mean, we were four guys back at the start.
Doing everything.
We're a few more people
cooking.
now.
I remember we had to cook one day in Barcelona. We had to whip out some eggs. I don't know what we did with it.
Favorite FC Malaga City memory, if you had to pick one?
That's probably one of them. that they were like, what are we gonna eat? Oh, well, here we go. I mean, that and like, you know, the first visits of Madrid, the first visits of Barcelona, first visit of Valencia, you know, that. Now I think maybe that's something the staff maybe even takes it for granted now. It's like, oh, going to Atletico Madrid. Oh yeah, that's cool. You know, so it's so far or something like that. It's like, I mean, don't take it for granted, right? Like we were getting excited to go into a Laurino and getting a friendly there, right? And stuff like that.
I think that's even happening now. I guess we're creatures of, you know, being like that, you know, complacent, you know, humans in general. I don't think complacent is the exact right word, but even with the Tottenham partnership before, it was everyone put their name down wanting to go and get to London and things like that, and now people are, well, which month's it going to be? It's a bit cold there that time, you know,
it's like, you have the
it's a Premier League club.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but no, I think we're so fortunate, and I get humbled every single year. All the clubs open their doors to us and want to play a game against our young players and evaluate them, and we get a chance to. Sometimes we know that we're going in there to fill in maybe as a sparring partner. Maybe they've had a game cancelled or something like that. But the fact that they count on FC Malaga City to be that, and then that gets our players on the platform. Just last week our ladies team playing against the German underage international team again. That's the second time invited to play them. Multiple times we get invited back to Paris Saint-Germain. It really is so mind blowing, and it's a message that we always said back in the day as well, that while the games aren't for points and they're somewhat of an exhibition, it's making sure that we get the invite to come back again, and that's a responsibility.
A big responsibility.
Yeah.
Big responsibility, and obviously, the players have done a great job, and again, the example that we're setting as far as how things can be in a club as well, because we have to think as a club environment for teams, and again, the staffs and the methodology and everything is run as a club. I think it's a great experience for everyone involved, for people that work here to get that real feeling. Yeah. And for players to come and see how it could be at a very high level place. And we're just at the tip of the iceberg, right?
I really think so. And obviously having a senior team now that competes at a professional level, and you're working with players more on the mental side as well. What would be your key piece of advice to young players in the academy now if they wanted to aspire to? Everyone wants to go and play for Real Madrid, Barcelona, but even to get into FC Malaga City first team isn't the easiest task. No. What would be your key piece of advice on the mental preparation?
So far, I think two things that I've seen that are key, and that's being very humble and having a realistic view of yourself and understand, using the feedback around you, obvious signs like, are you the best in your team? Then obviously, there's achievements to be making to then go to that ultimate goal, right? Yeah. And then enjoy, really be immersed in that step, whatever that step it is that you're in, because you cannot be anywhere else. Yeah. Right. So that's where you are. Live that moment the best. Enjoy that process, because that's at the end what's gonna be left of whatever you achieve. Enjoy that, which is much easily said than done. Because that brings you to that resilience. That was gonna be my other bit. That never continue to push through. There's gonna be hurdles. No matter what path you pick, if you want to be at a high level, if you want to do it well, there's gonna be hurdles, and it's not the hurdle, it's just how you take it, right? How you approach it, and so those two things, resilience and be very honest with yourself and humble, so then you can take the correct steps forward. Because if you are lying to yourself, you don't know what your starting point actually is.
And in terms of identifying and dealing with, it gets used a lot, but instant gratification, and now that young people have so much at their fingertips all the time, everything is so fast on Snapchat, Instagram, all these things, and that's all they're doing is they're constantly just getting hit with information and videos and things. And then I find players now can be, they think they're going to be here a month and going to be playing with Neymar somewhere, and what kind of advice do you give players in that moment? How did you get them to deal with, be more patient and deal with the process? It's a long journey, it's a grind.
It's a long journey. I think a good exercise is to look at yourself 3 years ago. And you realize how much you've changed, right? So just imagine if you just keep following even a normal learning curve, how much you're gonna learn, right? So then if you can do all the right steps in that moment, what do I, what gets me closer to being that player? Okay, if it's eating better, if it's doing an extra first touch work, is it resting? Yeah. Is it right?
Because that's sometimes,
right? Sometimes it can be overdoing it as well, right? Am I taking time off from the social media, from the things? Am I doing, occupying my brain with other useful things as well? So yeah, there's a lot to the formula, not because you can do 100 keepy uppies or
So. I think that's what we're trying to teach people with this part, and people like yourself is so many different parts of your game to be a complete player. And like you say, as much as resting the right amount, which no one even thinks about a lot of the time, and I'm just so thrilled to have you back at the club, and I hope this is going to be the start of another long journey, and cannot wait to see how this department can implement, and hopefully we've got more staff working, in this project for it, and that's what I really believe in it. I believe in yourself more than anything, but thanks again for your time today, and
Thank you.
And I cannot wait to see the effect on the players. Amazing. Well, that brings us to the end of show 3, and you know, we're going to try and bring you lots of different aspects of the club and different elements to get, you know, people will understand back at home. You're a long way away to see what we're doing day to day, to try and make sure that the player development's at the centre of all that we do. Please comment things you'd like to see, interviews you'd be interested in hearing, and we'll try and bring them to you as the season goes on.